What's up? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Rise and Shred. I know you all missed me and Jacob last week. We weren't here. I was on vacation. So, you know what? You got to take time. Jacob and I talk about that all the time. You got to take time to spend with your family. So I was off hanging out with the family, getting a little fun in the sun, but we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Plus, you don't miss a single beat if you subscribe to Rise and Shred. You have to click. The link is even below. Just quick little Bailey link. Go over there. Subscribe right now. It's the number one and only daily diary of the mortgage industry. And you literally will not miss a single thing if you subscribe. Mr. Jacob Gaffney, the one, the only, hanging out with us this morning. And there's so much to talk about. But before we do, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. You know what time it is. Jacob, you know what time it is? It's time to rise and shred. It's time to share, rise and shred. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Gaffney, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Memorial Day or Memorial Holiday weekend?
Yes. How was yours?
It was amazing. You know, I tried to actually post this video. I tried to do this small town in which I live. A lot of people know that I live in a small town up here in Utah, and I love this small town. We are very, how do I put this? We are very patriotic people. Mm-hmm. And there was this amazing tribute to all of our veterans, to those people who have served our country, who are currently serving. And our little city in which we live, they had these two huge flags overhanging the roadways. It was literally picturesque. And I tried to do a video of it. And of course, Instagram is all messed up right now, but it was cool. Those holidays where we get to remember those who have, served and protected us so valiantly. It's an opportunity that I really enjoy, but holiday was good. We're back now. How about you? Do anything fun and exciting over the weekend?
Did a bunch of things with the family, hanging out, soccer tournaments, some DIY projects, catching up on some things, making the most of my time.
Nice.
But you haven't been answering my emails. Apparently you're a very busy man now, right? Getting lots of emails. You go out of town and you get flooded, and then you're like, I'm just going to see Jacob on Tuesday, so I need to respond to his emails or something. But are you getting a lot of emails or something? I'm getting concerned. I'm feeling blanked. I'm feeling ghosted. I'm feeling like I'm not getting enough of my Josh time. So what's been happening?
Dude, it has been crazy. I don't know what it is. There's a lot of, I don't know if uncertainty is the right word, but there's a lot of kind of like mixed feelings in the industry. And my inbox was literally just flooded of like, hey, what are you seeing? What are you hearing? You're kind of on, the backside of everything. What's the word? What should we be concerned? And this is from a wide range of people. This is from CMOs. Talking about marketing. This is from originators. This is from regional people within companies. And they're literally just like, what's the general feel of what's going on? They're like, you're connected, you and Jacob do Rise and Shred. You guys put out the daily diary of the industry. What is the general consensus of what's going on in the industry? Which we're going to be talking about that today, Jacob. There is a seismic shift that is happening, but it is interesting that I think people are starting to feel it. We've all been in this industry long enough to know that things are good. 2020 was a banner year. We've talked about that far too much, but we're starting to see some trends. We're starting to see some things happen, which we'll be discussing, that really start to make us question and start to think like, all right, what should we really be paying attention to? What should be on our radar to make sure we continue and we position ourselves as professionals, as, mortgage industry. These are our careers, ladies and gentlemen. What should we be doing? So we're going to be talking about that today, Jacob. But yeah, my inbox has been flooded. So man, I'm sorry. I haven't been trying to avoid you. I haven't forgotten about you. It's just been so crazy. It's been so crazy busy. We're trying to involve our community, trying to make sure we give them what they're wanting. So, but it's good to be back with you, man. So excited to be back with you today.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Again, excited to be back as well. But the sentiment has certainly shifted, and not in a positive way. In today's Rise and Shred, we talk about, closing times are going down, still 51 days or something. It's just crazy. We could do better than that. But here is the reason behind everything you just talked about and why we're saying this is a seismic shift. The next 12 months in the mortgage industry are going to be painful to observe. They're going to be painful to participate in. It's going to be a very difficult market. Will we still be able to make a living? Yes, but it is just going to be, yeah, there you go. We're officially closing mortgage faster. But if you scroll down, there's a Bloomberg chart that's very, very telling. And let me lay the table a little bit. Bear with me. We spent 13 months inside. The price of everything outside skyrocketed, but we didn't really pay attention to that. We went back outside, and now we can't afford anything. We can't get anything. You know, people want houses. They wanted houses if they were lucky enough to get them. We focused on people who were able to close on houses, and we're like, hey, the market's so good. And we did not pay attention to the hundreds of thousands of people who wanted to buy houses that we had nothing for. We had nothing to give them. We had nothing to sell them. We had no time for them. We were so focused on their customers who were 3 months ahead of us, who were 6 months ahead of us, that we spent no time waiting for the long term, planning for the long term, not thinking about, well, what about our customer in 12 months? What about our customer in 15 months? We didn't think at all about that because we were insulated inside our houses, and it was a massive failure on the part of the industry. And I have one chart that sums it up. I'm going to share my screen with you. Bear with me because normally I don't do this on the show. I let you, but I'm sorry, Josh, today I just got to take the room. I think I go share here and then, okay. Can you see this? Can you see this chart?
There we go.
You can see that. That is the University of Michigan buying conditions for houses. Okay. That chart goes back to the early 90s. These are people who say, I want to buy a house. Okay, that's what this chart is. All right. Hey, Josh, I thought everyone wanted to buy a house.
Yeah, me too.
I thought our demand was through the roof. I thought, nope. People don't want to buy your stinking houses, Josh. Okay, it is at the lowest level in 30 years because we have not been able to sell homes. And why haven't we been able to sell homes? You want to tell me?
Yeah, good question. Markets up, they're too expensive. Nobody can afford them.
Exactly, because of something that was beyond our control. And that was global supply chain disruptions. You know, Rise&Shred wrote about a ship blocking the Suez Canal.
Oh, yep.
Okay, and people were like, why are you writing about a ship blocking the Suez Canal?
Like,
what does it have to do with mortgages? Well, because it held up a bunch of ships that were containing lumber coming from China to the United States. Now the price of lumber has skyrocketed. Normally, that's not a problem. Okay, it's called concentration risk. Okay, you have in your supply chain, you have your concentrated risk. It's one where, because of the global supply chain and the pandemic, concentrated risk has multiplied in several key areas throughout the economy, thus disrupting housing at its very core in a place that we haven't even thought about these things in these terms before. Loan originators have never thought about a ship in the Suez Canal holding up lumber, affecting them 6 months down the line. We need to shift our mentality so that we as a community become more aware and become more talking about this and just become more open. And we've got to get back outside. We've got to start looking at everything. We've got to blue sky things more. We became so hyper-focused on everything that we are now in a position where we've shot ourselves in the foot.
Dang it.
Yes. I'm sorry. I wish I had better news for you, but it's a Tuesday. If it was a Monday, I would have sugarcoated it a bit better. But
it's Tuesday.
You've had your holiday. You've had your fun. You've had your family time. We need to get back to work. But it is very interesting the way non-banks, particularly Rocket. I know a lot of people, they don't like Rocket. They want to hear about Rocket, but you got to admit they are the only ones who are seeking to diversify outside of their lines in very, very creative ways. And they don't even do it quietly. They do it very much spaghetti against the wall tactics, right? Yep. And you can maybe, hey, as always, correct me if you think I'm wrong here.
Sure.
You know, if you think, send me an email. Let's talk about it. I wish we could get more of these conversations out. But right now, what we're seeing in the mortgage market is we're seeing non-banks beginning to shift seismically to adopt the role of the big banks. And where is that going? And where do you fit in that market? because that kind of market is just one in which more and more market share gets bundled towards the top. When you look at the other asset classes, autos particularly, there's not top 100 car makers.
Right.
Okay. There's a few startups, like Lucid Motors is a great one, electric truck company, you know.
Very cool truck company.
Building a massive factory out, in rural Arizona. I mean, you want to talk about up and coming housing markets. We could talk about where are the factories being built.
Right.
Our LOs, our national LOs looking at factory trends right now, because I'll tell you, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, and Oklahoma, those 4 states have 30% of the jobs that are going to be coming to market in the next year or two, because they're building a ton of factories. Are we building homes out there? Are we looking to expand our retail branches out there? I mean, for every factory that's being built, there should be lenders opening up a mom and pop shop
all day,
opening up a broker network, reaching out, finding, look it up, people. Lucid Motors, where are they? I'm not going to tell you. You have to look it up yourself. You have to do your homework yourself. Can't do everything for you.
Do it. Lucid
Motors is going to be hiring tens of thousands of people for this factory in the next 12 to 15 months. Okay. Where are they going to live? They got to go somewhere.
Bingo.
Or are we going to do the same thing we've been doing to them in the last 12 years? No, we got nothing for you. Sorry. I'm going to focus on my little leads right here, and I'm not going to worry about the noise anywhere else, because, hey, what could go wrong in 6 months? I'm doing great right now.
Right. But I think that's just it, Jacob. And that's why we're bringing this up and sharing this with our community, with the entire industry, is like, now is the time to be looking for these opportunities. Start doing your due diligence, start looking. There are so many of those states that you mentioned, Jacob. You, as our audience, you're in those states. You need to be aware of the changes that are coming so you can be ahead of them. We're basically giving you the insight, like, hey, there you go. This is on a silver platter. Start looking at where these companies are going to be. Start doing marketing. Start doing those targeting so you can start building those relationships right now. Like, so many of us in the industry, you mentioned this, we're so busy focused on our leads, focused on our pipeline, that we forget the long-term play of this. We forget that, hey, I still got to have new relationships, new opportunities in 6 months. That's why we're sharing this. You have to start looking now, because these companies are coming. Like you said, 30%. That's nothing to scoff at, Jacob. Like, that's not like, 1 or 2%. Okay, not a big deal still even then. But 30% of these new jobs that are coming in are in those states. Mm-hmm. So if you're in those markets, you need to be paying attention. You need to be listening, and now is the time to take action.
Now is the time to take action. That's exactly correct. And, it's you use the word uncertainty, right? And that's the way people feel.
Yeah.
If you took an hour to read the economic reports, just 1 hour every day, that uncertainty would be replaced with certainty.
Absolutely.
And if you can, you could use the Rise&Shred as a way to get started in the morning, but it cannot be the only source of information you consume. I've talked to people a ton of times. They all say they just typically read one publisher, right? I just read, I only go through this. And now some of them say they don't even click through, right? They get the emails, they don't even click through. That's fine for us because we're independent, right? And we're awesome.
100%.
But these other publishers, they need you to click through because they have ad sales that are based on that, right? So, I mean, I don't know about you, but I think the world's a better place with more mortgage trade publications in it.
I agree. 100%.
I think there should be more. I think they should be covering more. I think they should be giving our support, more and more. And just, you have to click through every single one just to read and see. But that's not where it all begins. The mortgage trade as a trade is so focused in on itself that it can never have that truly expansive view that looks at the economy in different ways to see that predictive analysis of where we're going in the market. And right now we have, again, going back to Rocket Mortgage, they're doing auto loans. They've adopted the tech so that they can bring in really quick auto loan closings. It's less than 2% of their revenue today. That's going to change. They're going to want to hit you up right out of college, right, with a nice slick ad scheme that gets you a credit card. Okay. Now this is taking straight out of the page of the banks.
Yep.
Giving you a nice credit card. Like I got my Citibank card right out of college, right? I was a customer for Citibank. I would have got a mortgage with them if they couldn't have gotten out of the way back after the recession.
Right.
But I don't think non-banks are going to have the issue of being too big to move like with the big banks. It's just a whole new world. And they're going to be going and they're going to be taking market share. And they're going to get you your auto loan. And they're going to help you refinance and pay off your student loan debts. They're going to come up with really smart products that roll in the student finance into the house purchase, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they're going to keep you on for 40 years, not just a 30-year mortgage, okay? They're going to prime you up 10 years before you're ready to buy a house so that when you are ready, they are right there with you the whole time. Can you defeat that? Can you work with that? Does everyone here listening want to work for Rocket? I think nobody here wants to see that happen. I certainly don't, but that is the way things are going.
Dude, and Jacob, that is just it. Like, this is literally why we're talking about this. This is the way, this is the, love them or hate them, Rocket is smart. Like, they are very smart, and they see the trends, they see what's going on. And that's why we're talking about this. And many of you know, I shared a while ago on the show that we had people reaching out like, oh, you guys are a Rocket-based company. We are an independent. We are absolutely like, we're just talking about this because you have to know. If you don't, and like going back to what you said, Jacob, if you're just a headline reader, that is not helping you. And again, Rise and Shred, that's why we tell you to subscribe. We don't have pull-through ads. We literally put the entire story in the email. You can read it, but still, if this is your true career, if this is your profession, you need to be educated. We do our best, but there are some great other publications out there that you can also refer to. Our good friends over at Next, those ladies over there doing a phenomenal job. Yeah. But you have to become educated. If you don't, then these companies like we're referring to, Rockets of the world, they're just, dude, they're putting all kinds of money, all kinds of spend, and they're catching these buyers at a very, very young age. Like you said, Jacob, they're not dumb. They didn't get to be number one being stupid. They're very, very smart, and they're playing the long game, like I mentioned earlier. This is a very, like I said, some of these people are probably 10, 15 years out from buying, maybe even longer, but they're seeing what needs to be done now to capture that business long term. That's why we're sharing this, ladies and gentlemen. That's why this is, like Jacob mentioned, that's why we need these discussions to be happening more. And we want to hear from you. We want to see, what have you seen? What are you hearing? Many of, like I started this show, many of you are uncertain of what's going on. You want more certainty. That's why we do this. That's why we bring this to you every single week. And that's why you need to subscribe below to the daily diary of the mortgage industry. Click the link or copy the link, go subscribe right now and get it to your daily or to your inbox every single morning.
Yeah, absolutely. And share it with everyone, because the more people we could get our message to, the better. Again, this is a service for the mortgage industry. And I think, some of the frustrations with readership comes from the fact that we just don't talk amongst each other enough. We're still not doing a better job. And Josh, you and I, we're trying to do a better job of it as much as we can, and we have the daily diary, the only daily diary of the mortgage market that starts out and has just a brief summary of what's happening in the market that very day, right? Unfortunately, we can't go into a very long description of what's going to happen 6 to 9 months out from now, but we can touch on it, which we have today. And one of the reasons you mentioned that people often diss us because we talk about stocks, we talk about ships in the Suez Canal, et cetera. And they want us to be more on point. They think, we go out there a little too much, but this is blue sky thinking. Right. And I think, when you look at the stock market and the companies like United Wholesale, a lot of the information you get is based on what they will disclose publicly. Correct. And what they will disclose publicly versus what we're learning privately are sometimes two very different stories. So we have to learn to balance those out, and we have to look at the way stocks perform, because those investors do look 6 to 9 months ahead. Right. So we have to really focus more and more on the investment community, because we can take direction from them. Absolutely. If we know where the secondary market is going, we can make better decisions in the primary market today.
Yep. And that's it, period. And that's why a comment just came in that I'm not going to share this comment, but no, we do not have ads, ladies and gentlemen. Like Rise and Shred is not sponsored content. There is no sponsored content in Rise and Shred. We are not bought and paid. Like Jacob mentioned, we do this. him and I both have our separate companies. Rise&Shred is something that him and I have put together over the last few years, and we truly do try to bring you value. We are not a bought and paid for media or news outlet. We are the daily diary of this industry. Will there come a time? Yes, and we'll tell you. We'll be very honest. We are black and white when it comes to that. But no, we are not we're not ad hocs. And again, this is nothing against those, but again, this comment, people think we truly do this because we want you to succeed. We bring you the best. We bring you the information that you need to go out and say, oh, wow, Rocket's doing this. This is what's going on in the housing market. You just need to be up to date. So I'm glad you commented. I'm not going to share the full comment, but I appreciate people asking. No, we are not a bought and paid for. We do not have any sponsored ad. Go subscribe. You can tell me if you ever see an ad in Rise&Shred, send me that. You won't. Like we don't do ads, ladies and gentlemen. We really, truly, and Jacob, this is where our heart, you and I have been in this industry long enough that we truly value it. We want to see everyone thrive. We want to see those succeed. But those who are willing to do the due diligence, wow, that was a hard word for me this morning. Like you said, you have to be willing to put in some hard work ourselves. Jacob and the team over here, we're busting our asses to do this for all, like we want to do it, but you have to be willing to put in the work as well. That's like my rant. We're kind of being a little tough on people today, Jacob, but I think it's time in the industry. We need a little tough love. We need people to start stepping up. We need to see, back to your point, we need to see more collaboration. We need to see more discussion, and we hope maybe we're the ones to foster it. If we're the ones to foster and we're the ones to start it, let's go, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're all about. So, Jacob, anything else you've got for today? We've covered a lot. We're going 20 minutes, going just over 20 minutes right now. Anything that you're looking forward to? Let's end on a high and positive note. What are you looking forward to this week that we should be paying attention to?
Well, I mean, we're looking at a lot of different economic surveys. We're looking at the way businesses are returning to work. It's, if you look at the Redfin CEO tweets from last week, that was in Rise&Shred. He's talking about lenders are now calling employers to say, hey, are you going to offer this person work from home options? Because we're afraid they're going to quit if you do so. I think that companies really need to consider getting in front of the return to work mentality. We know they want to come in. We know we want to collaborate, but people are very traumatized, from the last couple of months. I mean, literally, figuratively, theoretically, any way you want to cover it, people have PTSD, and it's something that they're willing to take out on their employer if they're not getting what they want. And everyone needs to remember that. So you could see right now the big trend is to take a stand and say, I want to work from home and I'm willing to shift jobs. I know of a mortgage lender out. Well, I don't want to give too much information, but right now there's a lot of people who are looking for good talent, especially right now for some reason. I'm getting in my professional role at a marketing agency with Gaffney Austin. I get a lot of roles. Hey, do you know someone who could do this? Can you know someone who could do that? I got one job offer that said, hey, do you know someone who could do this? And it was for a position out in Florida. They must move to Florida. And I cannot imagine what they're thinking.
Right.
Anyone would say you have to move to come into this job. They're not going to get anyone. They're not going to get anyone, Josh.
Nope.
Because their job offer is not reflective of today's reality.
Right.
So that's the trend we're seeing, is that you really have to spend some time reading and focusing on your people.
Boom. That's a great note to end on. Focus on your people. Focus on the people around you. You see this sign in the background over that shoulder. Teamwork, ladies and gentlemen. Teamwork makes the dream work. Surround yourself with the right people. Build a culture in an organization where people, I'm so glad you brought that up, and that may be for a later show, but there's a lot of headhunters, or a lot of recruiting is going on. There's a lot of shifting. I mean, that's not even the seismic shift we were talking about. There's a lot of shifting going on right now. And if you are not building a culture where people want to stay long-term, if you're not supporting them, if you're not doing and fulfilling their needs, they may go somewhere. Plenty of indispensable people in cemeteries. Thanks, Jim. Great comment there, Jim. But ladies and gentlemen, with that, we're going to go ahead and end. We appreciate you guys being here as always. Really do. Jacob and I we do this from our heart. We want to do all that we can to share the love and share the education and share these things. And ladies and gentlemen, there's no better gentleman that I could ever think of than Jacob Gaffney with Gaffney Austin, always sharing his expertise, his knowledge. Hey, there was a comment about your cardigan today. The people love your cardigan, Jacob. They're just like, man, that guy can rock a cardigan like nobody's business. So big shout out to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you. Make sure you join us every Monday morning, usually Monday, Tuesday with the holiday, every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. You can join us right here at Rise&Shred, and make sure you click the link below. You don't want to miss a single daily diary of the mortgage industry, and you get it straight to your inbox every single morning with no ads. No ads, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine that. With that, we appreciate you. We love you. Now it's time for all of you to go shred on this Tuesday morning. Go show up, hustle, repeat every day. See ya.